Today, we're finally getting to HopeFilled Financial FootStep number 7, which is all about paying off your mortgage. We're going to be talking about the difference between paying your mortgage off early or investing more today and keeping the mortgage around a little bit longer. And to get us warmed up, we're going to have a quick conversation about freedom. Good morning and welcome to the HopeFilled Financial Podcast. My name is Jay Disberger, your one and only HopeFilled Financial Coach, and I'm sincerely happy that you're with us today. Just this evening, before recording this episode, I went on a walk with my family. We made it about 3, maybe 4 houses down the street, and my toddler stopped because he knew that he needed something from home. He said something about a sprinkler, turned around, and just started walking back. And for context, Oliver's 2.5, almost 3 years old. My wife and I stop. We've got Isaac in the stroller, and we're watching Oliver walk down to the house. And neither of us start following him because we're pretty sure he's going to get uncomfortable once he gets far enough away from us and realizes that we're not going to follow him. But he kept going. He walked past house number 1. He walked past house number 2. He walked past the sprinkler he was really interested in. He walked all the way up our driveway and stood by the garage door. He proved me wrong. He proved that he had the freedom to simply walk all the way back home if he chose to. Well, I expected him to have this internal pressure, this internal restriction that would not permit him that much freedom to walk away. What he wanted was a little banana stroller from the garage so that he could push it while we push his baby brother in the larger stroller. And as we got back on track with our walk, he stopped with his little stroller and started doing circles like little donuts for no apparent reason. Amanda and I like to joke that it's that darn free will that he's got going. Really, he's come up with some of the most original ideas lately. Just a couple weekends ago, he came down the stairs from his nap, and I said, "Oliver, what do you want to do today?" And he goes, "I'd like to go to Home Depot and pick out a water feature." As a parent, I find his exercise of free will and originality to be downright entertaining and a little inspiring. You see, what Oliver is experiencing right now is an ever-increasing degree of freedom. He's able to do more and more, and he's able to exercise his free will with increasing effectiveness. I'm pretty sure from my understanding, his job right now is to run headlong into boundaries to see what's going to stick and where he has freedom in order to continue growing into the bigger world, in order to continue growing up. I don't know about you, but somewhere along the line while I was growing up, I started to feel like the actions I could take were being more and more blocked in by varying parameters. My degrees of freedom, if you will, felt like they were being increasingly constrained as I grew up until I hit college. And more than that, when I moved out for my first internship in Omaha. For that internship, I vividly remember going to the grocery store for the first time. It was the very first moment that I had taken myself to go grocery shopping on my own. I was pretty calm for most of this first shopping trip, and I was sticking to my shopping list until I hit the cereal aisle. I had put cereal plainly on my shopping list. I was going to get what was on sale. And I remember looking up and down the aisle and saying I could get anything here. I could buy the cereal I wasn't allowed to have growing up, or the sugary cereal where my mom said it needed to be someone's birthday, we needed to have a coupon, and it needed to be on sale in order to justify buying it. And I was overwhelmed with this wash of newfound freedom. I could genuinely buy anything in the aisle, and there was no reason why I couldn't. I did end up buying the single cheapest healthy cereal that was there, but that's beside the point. And I know some of you can relate to this sort of feeling because there was a comedian, I can't remember who did a bit once about becoming an adult and saying that the process of becoming an adult is going to the grocery store and realizing that without any special occasion, you could simply buy a birthday cake, take it home, and eat it for dinner. And no one was going to stop you.
So I grabbed one of these tiny cakes that somebody brought me, one of those little tiny ones that has the plastic cover and the sticker on the side, and I handed it to him. I go, "Here."
Meanwhile, growing into a mature adult is realizing why that's a bad idea, even if you had to do it the hard way.
"Hey, are you okay?" "My stomach." "Your stomach? Too much cake?" "Yeah."
All right, Jay, free will, degrees of freedom. What does this have to do with paying my mortgage off? We're going to get there soon, but first, I want to formally define what I mean when I say degrees of freedom. And I'm going to try to do this in a little bit more of a technical sense. If you want a more entertaining and emotional processing of degrees of freedom, I recommend that you play the Stanley Parable video game.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'm going to define degrees of freedom like this. I want you to think about a hypothetical monorail that can't go backwards, can only go forwards on its track. It has 1 degree of freedom. It can choose to go forward and it can choose not to go forward. That is its parameter. That is its degree of freedom. Now compare this to a racing drone. A racing drone can go forward, backward, left, right, up, down. It's able to twist, it's able to rotate side to side, and it's able to roll forward and backward. When it's exercising every degree of freedom, it seems to move in any way that it wants. Formally, if we talk about the 3 axes of translation and rotation, the drone has 6 degrees of freedom, but we can agree that the drone is significantly more free than the monorail that can simply go forward on its track. The drone is more free. And what is our goal when it comes to getting to the end of the HopeFilled Financial FootSteps? For many of us, for me, it's achieving genuine financial freedom, a degree of financial freedom to the point where I can say I have financial independence. If you're at HopeFilled Financial FootStep number 7, you have already experienced an increase in your financial freedom, in your degrees of freedom, because debt is a huge constraint on your degrees of freedom. When we have debt or choose to keep debt around, we are promising our dollars away in the future. We are removing the freedom for those dollars to do whatever else that we would want them to do. When we have a budget, we are exercising our intentionality with our money so that we have the freedom to genuinely assign our discretionary income to our true wants. And at this point, we've already been exercising a plan for our retirement future. So there's a peace and a contentment with that being situated. But what else can we do to improve our degrees of financial freedom? And the answer to that question is inside the main topic. For the main topic today, we are going to be covering HopeFilled Financial FootStep number 7, pay off your mortgage. Now, Dave Ramsey gets a lot of grief when he says that people should pay off their mortgage as soon as possible once they get to, I believe it's baby step 6 in his process. I actually made a reference to baby step 6 when I called Dave Ramsey for the whole 8% thing. I feel, from what I've been running the numbers with, that I'm on the teetering edge of coasting financial independence. And I'm trying to best understand my plan with the end in mind. So how I'm going to turn that nest egg when I retire into income. I found on your website a little article that talks about 4 to 5% withdrawal rate. If I can establish financial independence comfortably, then I was wondering if I could ease up on baby step 4 to pay off the house faster. So why is Dave criticized for saying you should pay off your mortgage as fast as possible once you hit baby step 6? Well, criticism found very solid ground as we went through the pandemic recently because interest rates on mortgages fell so low. Historic lows, we're talking 2-3% interest rates out there. If you are lucky enough to be holding on to one of these very low interest rate mortgages, you know that you could probably take your income and put it in a high yield savings account, and that will generate more interest than what you're being charged on your mortgage. So why would you put money toward your mortgage, extra money toward your mortgage, in order to get rid of this very low interest rate if you can invest it? Because the math says that you're going to want to exercise an arbitrage opportunity here. Mathematically, your net worth will be optimized if you hold on to that mortgage as long as possible and invest what you would otherwise be using to pay the mortgage off extra fast. And I'm perfectly happy if that's the path you want to go down, as long as it doesn't violate the third facet of paying your mortgage off that we'll talk about at the end of the main topic. But there's a different goal that I want you to consider and weigh against optimizing or maximizing your net worth in the future, and that is increasing your degrees of freedom, your degrees of financial freedom today. You see, the mortgage very likely represents the largest expense that you have in your monthly budget. I want you to take a moment and imagine what would happen if the dollars going toward your mortgage were not promised away to your mortgage next month. What would you do with that money? What could you do if you had that money to either spend, save, or give every month from now until retirement? For me, I have a whole swath of financial goals that I would like to pit that money against. Primarily savings goals. I'd like to save up so my family can buy a minivan in the near future. I'd also like to take my family on a really nice vacation. It's been a while since we've done something that was a little bit more extravagant. But paying off your mortgage does more than just increase the degrees of freedom in your budget. Paying off your mortgage early decreases your overall needs every month. It decreases how much money you need to make in order to survive. And this can give you a lot more freedom with how you choose to exercise your time in the working world. Let me put it like this. I know people who feel like they are stuck where they are career wise, that they can't move up and they can't move jobs because they are scared that moving jobs represents an instability. They feel stuck where they are because so much of their income is already promised away. And being in this situation makes a career change or a job change much scarier. And I get that. Now, in contrast, paying off your mortgage allows you to either cut back on hours with a current job where you'd otherwise feel stuck, or switch career paths to something that you enjoy more, even if it comes at the expense of taking a pay cut. The degrees of freedom that you have for your working life really open up once you have a roof over your head that's paid for. Now, again, how fast you pay your mortgage off depends on what you value. Do you value maximizing your net worth and taking advantage of the optimal mathematics with your financial decisions? Or do you want to increase your degrees of financial freedom in your budget and your working life? And by and large, in my opinion, under the HopeFilled Financial FootSteps, you have the degrees of freedom to choose either path that's right for you, as long as you are following the next guideline. And that is that your mortgage is paid off before you retire. Because when you retire, keeping a mortgage around is no longer just a degrees of freedom question. It's going to start introducing a heavy risk to your financial future. Your burn rate in retirement is what's going to be used to determine how much you need to retire. Because a mortgage is likely your most expensive expense, your most expensive need every month, removing it is one of the most efficient and effective ways to decrease how much money you need to retire, to the point it has the potential to even move your retirement date up closer. And if retiring early is something that interests you, we've covered that in a couple past episodes. So getting rid of your mortgage before you retire not only makes retirement much more achievable, but it makes retirement less risky. You see, if we have the ability to be flexible with our money in retirement, and we're able to decrease our withdrawal rate, we're able to decrease the risk we're exposing ourselves to when it comes to our distribution rates. If our nest egg ends up being too small and our burn rate ends up being too high, our necessities could result in a distribution rate in retirement that cannot be quelled by flexible distribution rates or strategies like the portfolio waterfall. Even if you don't feel like your current burn rate with a mortgage would represent a super risky distribution rate in retirement, getting it cleared up beforehand is going to give you more flexibility. It's going to give you the opportunity to, in the worst of worst situations, be able to weather through market storms that could have otherwise sunk your retirement boat early. And with that, HopeFilled Financial FootStep number 7 can be summarized like this. Establish a plan where your mortgage will be paid off by the time you are ready to retire. And if you value maximizing your net worth and you have a very low interest rate on your mortgage, feel free to enjoy the arbitrage opportunity. Or regardless of your interest rate, if you value degrees of freedom, go ahead and start chipping away at your mortgage and get it paid off as soon as possible. Now I want to know, what do you value in your plan? Do you agree that your mortgage should be paid off before retirement? Do you value the arbitrage opportunity and maximizing your net worth? Or do you value the degrees of freedom more? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to the HopeFilled Financial Podcast, so that until next week, until next Tuesday, we can together budget bravely and enjoy our hope-filled financial futures. Now again, Now again. Again. I got this.